Looks smooth enough to me.
Hey everyone, we're just setting up. Give us 2 minutes, and we'll join you. How's the video and how's the audio? If you can let us know in the chat. Zoe here. Thanks for joining. Let us know how the audio is.
We were supposed to start an hour ago, but Eddie's been having fun getting his video right, so he wants to check.
Yeah, we've had some technical issues, so yeah, give us a couple of minutes and we'll be there. But let us know how the audio and video is. We'll really appreciate the feedback. We're back in 2 minutes. I'll just mute myself while you hear me swearing, going, "This doesn't work!" By the way, we're still setting up. Need 30 more seconds. Whoever gave me the thumbs up, I really appreciate it. We haven't even started yet, but I really appreciate the thumbs up. Let me know how the audio and video is. That'd be great. So I'm going to turn this down, keep it in the background, but people can't hear me swearing about like swearing. This is not working. Okay, we're getting there slowly. We're going to talk about open source. Share your open source links in the chat. And we're really looking forward to reviewing your projects. We might even review some bigger projects like material design, and talk about how they do their commits and change logs. Andrew's a big really keen on that, and so am I. But he's really experienced in that, so it'll be good. So yeah, just got a couple more technical things to sort out, and then we are cooking on gas.
Evening all. Sorry, we've started a little bit late on the stream. Just waiting on Eddie, who's also streaming on his YouTube channel, and yeah, he's just having a few technical issues, just trying to tidy up the last few things. I'm blaming Eddie for this. It's why we're an hour late. We're about an hour and 15 minutes late getting started.
Yeah.
So apologies to anyone that did wait around and was hoping for the stream to start, and we're on a bit late. But yeah, in a few minutes we are going to do a bit of a code review, look around at a few GitHub projects. I think we're going to start with Angular material. So for any Angular people out there, or for just anyone who wants to see a bit around what Google are doing with some of their open source projects, stay tuned. We will be having a look in a few minutes as soon as Eddie is all set, which you won't be long. I'm going to put myself on mute for 2 minutes, and we will be back in a second.
I'm not muted, by the way.
You're not muted? Okay.
I'll just leave it open. Leave it open.
You can hear us swearing at the laptop whilst it doesn't behave.
Yes.
You can hear a fan running in the background. That, as well as Eddie's computer spinning up, going, yeah, I don't like this, because he needs to buy a new laptop.
I do.
He's going to be down the Apple shop tomorrow.
I think so.
He's going to get the most expensive laptop in the shop, and then he's still going to have problems.
But I am wearing a GitHub t-shirt. Look at this.
Yeah, we've got the Google open source out as well. So respect.
Angular material design. Oh, I can't spell. Code.
He's just tweeting up to make sure everyone knows that he's online, and he's in kind of strobe light effect on his feed.
Right, let's go. Okay, tweeted that. Cooking on gas now. The sound is from my laptop, but hopefully the audio and visual is good. And again, thank you for the person who gave me a thumbs up. I give myself a thumbs up.
Hacking your stats.
Got to be good. So let's get started. Right, Shall we jump straight in and bring up some projects?
Yeah. So we're going Angular material, yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's
let me bring that up, and hopefully all is good. It says my stream is healthy, so that's good. That's what the doctor also said, so that's also good.
So we haven't been asking any doctors too recently. My stream is a little bit funky.
A little bit funky. Okay, and you said I was.
I obviously haven't set the screen ratio right, so I'm going to jump to OBS, which is running over the background.
While Andrew's doing that,
I'm going to fix that live.
I'm going to jump to material design. I'm going to start talking about that. So, material design. Just switch to your camera though, so they can't see it.
There we go. Well, I need the right scene open.
Okay.
So we're all good.
Okay, so let me see.
So you can see we're using OBS for streaming. Had some issues the other day. YouTube was mucking around. Plus, obviously, we want to screen share what's on the desktop. So now you should be able to see the Angular Material project up on GitHub.
Yeah, hopefully I've switched to it too. I've got my Stream Deck here and I've switched to it. I realised I labelled them wrong. That's not me, that's both of us, and this is both as me. So, it's not even yeah, it's not good.
Amateurs, I tell you.
I should really put both of us on that one, not us. Okay, next time.
I hope you like the butterflies behind. We are in the 8-bit butterfly room. That's not going to be our team name, apparently, but I thought it was a good contender.
Yes, and I've just realised if I switch to my tab, everyone can see it. So I need to switch back to kind of both of us, then go back to, if I want to go check out Twitter or see what's going on. Hey all, so I was writing something in the chat as well. Hey all, sorry for the technical issues. Share your open source projects with us to review the open sourceness. I still like that word. I know people don't like it, but I like it. Open sourceness. Cool. So we head back to screens. Now we're looking at, that's the wrong screen. Look at material design. Right, it was just I had the open source project, so it's okay. Actually, is this the wrong one?
I'm a little bit zoomed out on here.
Angular JS, that's the wrong one.
You're on the old school.
Material 2, I'm guessing.
Material 2 we want. Yeah, so we're looking at new Angular. We're not looking at Angular Material, the first one. It's been probably 4 years since I used that now.
It's been a while.
Still a good project, but we want something a little bit more modern. We're just going to take a look and see what it is that Google are doing and some of the good practices, right?
Yeah.
Because I think Google are pretty hot on when it comes to the open source and how they do things on GitHub.
I'm going to switch back to me for a second because I want to change those screens because I want it to be on both of us and it looks really weird. If I click on that to do it, it does change the scene.
You have to
So you don't have to. You can go to studio mode and then you can change stuff and it hasn't gone over yet. Oh, so he says, yes. So let me switch that over. So I want to... I don't know if you want to start briefly talking about using the screen too much to give a bit of background, and then let me switch it without using like the repo. Like talk a bit about what maybe Material and Angular are or something.
Yeah, so I don't know how many developers we've got on the stream, but hopefully that is the main audience we're looking towards.
If not, you will be a developer soon. We're going to get
absolutely. We've got some tutorials coming out. So if you're a budding developer as well, want to get into it, and you're sort of thinking, what do these crazy people get up to in their evenings, and how do their day jobs go? Yeah, you'll hear a little bit about that, I'm sure, as well. Anyway, so Angular, it's a open source front-end framework. Unlike React, it's just a library, but that's another subject altogether. Yeah, we don't have a huge amount of love for React in the room, but that's another conversation. We are going to have a session, in fact, with some React devs in a couple of weeks, I believe. So stay tuned for that one. That could be quite a heated conversation.
Yeah. I'm going to try this out and see if this works now. Let's have a look. If I switch to my screen, it should be us in the corner. And then it should be my screen in the background. I love these technical issues when it comes through. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so that's got us. I think it's much, much better.
Cool. Right, yeah, so Angular, nice little framework. Comes with pretty much everything you need out the box. You don't have to go hunting around and trying to figure out what libraries you need. However, there are a few things where you have to obviously decide. So that's where things like Angular Material come in, giving you a design framework to go with your project. So you've got both the Angular side of things with the components, the directives, the pipes, and all the other elements for building up a framework of your own. An Angular Material, which is a front-end framework using Google's material design specification. But yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily use Angular Material too much on projects now. When I was first starting with Angular, I did use it fairly extensively. I probably more recently just use the CDK that they have and build my own design framework on top of that. But nevertheless, we're looking more from the open source perspective on what Angular material has to bring and how they set up their project. We're going to have a little bit of a look at some of the files they have there, why those exist, look at a few of the pull requests that have gone through, comment on sort of good and bad things put on their pull requests. And obviously, whilst we're doing that, if anyone has a project of their own they would like us to look at, then please let us know, and we will also take a look
Spectra
at some of
does.
projects.
Spectra, send us a link to your open source project. Am I looking at the right camera? I'm not really sure. But send us because too many cameras. Send us your link to your open source projects and let us get it up on the screen. We can give you a shout out. We can only give you a shout out. We can also review it, give you some tips back, and get some friends if they've got some projects that they want reviewed, like open source projects. Get them to send us some links. Yes, you finally got us live. It's good to see you. Those bloody time zones. So you don't have any projects? I don't believe you. You've got some open source projects. Come on, don't be shy.
And if not, you can start one now. We'll take a look in a few minutes.
Yes, start an open source project now. Good idea. Good call, Andrew. Start one now, and we will.
Never too late.
We can contribute to it. Create one, and I'll send you a pull request. How about that?
Not really the objective today, but yeah, maybe.
You can review my pull request. Oh no, yours has gone a bit dodge. Oh, maybe we could hit
Might be that side.
Okay. However, I built. Wait a second. I don't have any open source projects. I will, however, build the one I'm starting open source. So start it right now. We're going to be streaming for about an hour or so. So you got a bit of time.
Yeah, be on for the next hour, I guess. We started late. We were going to start
so late.
We were going to start an hour and a half ago. So yeah, we'll still try and do an hour. We were going to do 2 hours, but cool. Okay.
Yes.
Angular material.
Let's go.
Okay. You've not got the project up. I've got
the project up. That's the right one. Yeah, and then if I hit this button, boom, it comes up. So how's the sound, Spectra? How's the audio? I'm not using any big mics today. I'm using just my laptop mic in front of me, which is not going to be great. But yes, I bought lots of cool equipment with me, 12 kilos backpack, and I left one vital cable to connect it to my laptop at home. So that really upset me so much. But I won't do it again.
Cool.
Let's go.
I hope the sound on mine is coming through. I'm just going to turn the volume up just to hear.
Oh, you're getting some feedback though. Put headphones in.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, should we start by looking at some of these files?
Let's do.
Google put a few files up. They've got quite a few. Some of these are GitHub specific ones, and others they just add themselves.
I just thought of a GitHub contribution. I'm so sorry to interrupt. You're right. Code reviews, coding standards. Oh no, these aren't GitHub files, are they? I was going to say we could create a GitHub folder, and they've already got one.
GitHub folder.
Oh, I thought of a really good contribution there. Sorry, ignore me. I got excited for nothing.
Yeah. So some of the files that I'm focusing on here, these ones that are in capitals. So changelog, their code reviews, their coding standards, contributing. So contributing, that's a pretty key one for any open source project, right? If we don't have a quick look in that.
In which one?
Contributing markdown file.
That should be in .github. Why is it not in .github?
It should be, but a lot of people put that in the top.
Oh yeah, they do actually. No, you're right. The contributing one is in the top level. So
yeah. So obviously this is just telling people if you want to contribute to Angular material, what do you need to do? They have a code of conduct which actually takes them to their own website. They say if you've got problems, what do you need to do, how to submit issues. If you're looking for a feature, how do you go about requesting that? So it just gives you just generally the good conduct. How, if you want to contribute to the project, should you be doing things? So again, submitting pull requests. How should you be naming your branches? How do you commit? I mean, in some respects, it's a good lesson to learn. If you look around at some of these projects and see what are some of the good practices they're looking for, then yeah, there's an opportunity that you can decide, well, these guys, they use fast forward, for example, on their pull requests.
Oh, interesting. We definitely not talk about the commit messages. This is good. This is good. Really nice.
The main thing with commit messages, I suppose, is a lot of people use conventional changelog these days.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Conventional changelog has a fairly specific format, and if you're using it, you can then use the conventional changelog
generator.
CLI, I was going to say, but yeah, generator, and it will create for you a changelog that says these are all the things that have gone on, but it also groups them together into different areas. So what's features, what's bug fixes, what's just a chore, so maybe an admin task.
Like updating dependencies or something.
Yeah, maybe even a little bit of refactoring might come under a chore too. But
that's not a chore, that's a real benefit. It's a feature.
It is a benefit. I would tend to put them under features, but sometimes people put them under chores, right? But yeah, you can see down here, so they are mentioning what the different types they use. So features, it's a new feature, fix, a bug fix, documentation change. They actually have one for refactor on here as a specific task. Adding tests, sorting out the builds, and so forth. So that's a really good format. And the format typically, if I just scroll back up a tiny bit, and you might want to be following us so people can see on his screen.
I'm kind of following. I was looking at my chat. Sorry, where we got to.
So what they ask you to do is basically fill it out in this format of what's the type, so the type below, feature, fix, docs, and then in brackets, how do you want to scope that? So if you've got, in Angular Materials perspective, different components, you might be saying, this is a feature for the input component, so the scope would probably be input in this case. And then a subject line, what have you done? Maybe you've increased the border by 1 pixel, so you've changed all borders to be 2 pixels. Your subject would be something along those lines. And then you can add more detail below. So they say put a blank line in, put any body text in, another blank line, and any footer. And maybe the footer could be something like contributed by Eddie or Andrew, just to give a little bit of a reference back to yourself and some of those things. So yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. And then actually, they are suggesting in the footer to put breaking change information in their case.
Nice.
So different people ask for different things. They also, Google are very big on their CLA, so they do expect people to sign up to a contributor license agreement. I wouldn't recommend that for most projects. I mean, in general, if people are contributing, they're giving you access to use and reuse their stuff. So, yeah, I mean, most things, if you contribute, you can say it's a shared IP. You contribute to that project. They can use it for whatever they want. Plus, if you want to use it on your own project, you're allowed to use it on yours. But Google are quite big on just making sure that's all crystal clear to people.
They don't actually have a concrete example of what it's like. So where you've got type, scope, subject, that's the most important part.
Yeah.
It's really, you can do, so type is something like feature, fix, docs, style, otherwise a refactor, perf, test, and build, and chore, which you did mention. And then scope is the actual component or branch. You define that yourself, I think.
Again, it could be within the docs. So if it's a docs type, it could be docs to do with getting started, so installation or something.
Yeah, and then it's just then a message afterwards. So I had a question. People say, introduce my friend. So I will share. Andrew's just started recently a YouTube channel, so I'm quite keen to get him to more into YouTube. So I want to share his link to his channel. Please do subscribe. And I'm kicking the chair that's got the camera on it, so it's shaking it. So I'm really sorry.
So we've both been developing for like 15 years, right? We met.
So we've got 30 years between us. That's how old we are.
We met
10 years ago.
10 years ago now.
Yeah. Let me share a link to you.
And yes, ever since the last 10 years, we've been working off and on projects together. We've been working on projects outside of work together. There's been loads of stuff we've done. Eddie probably stronger on the PHP background, and me more from a Java background. But both of us for the last, 4 years now probably, we've been quite big on full stack JavaScript setup. Yeah. So Node backend, Angular typically on the front end, backend databases generally NoSQL, document store databases. So I've got probably a bit of a preference towards Mongo, Eddie perhaps more to Elastic. But yeah, our background is quite extensive. And everywhere we go, we're very quality focused, and that's one of our big things. So whilst, everyone's probably more familiar with Eddie because he's big on his social, he has been pushing me heavily at the social world, and I am slowly getting in there. But
23 subscribers already, and I haven't even shared the link yet.
Yeah, no, that's good. We'll build it up a bit more, hopefully.
So that's good. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, once I hit 1,000, there'll be some big celebration, I'm sure. I know you're looking to 10,000 right now.
Yeah, I'm really keen to get 10,000. This is Andrew's.
There's a quick intro.
This is Andrew's YouTube.
Yeah, so please do subscribe.
He's focusing on Angular.
I am doing some tutorials for Angular.
Best practices, GitHub, signing your GitHub commits. So
that'll be coming out this weekend. Yeah.
You get that kind of sign, and each commit you get that sign badge that you've actually signed it, and he's doing stuff like that. So I'm doing more events, hackathons, and I'm kicking that chair again, a bit stupid. So I'm focusing more on that side, and Andrew's focusing more on the coding side. So we're actually thinking of joining our channels together to, we'll keep our channels separate, but doing a joint channel where we can maybe stream these sorts of things on and do that. So we're interested to know what people's feedback are. And if anyone's just joined, don't forget to share your links to your open source projects in the chat, and also give us a thumbs up. And we look forward to reviewing your yeah, your open source projects.
Do you want to take us through another file on the project? I've talked a bit about the contributors file and how very important to have one of those. What else have they got?
Let's have a look. I'm kind of like breaking everything now, so let me come back. So if we switch back to sharing my screen.
What about things like a license and picking a license?
Yeah, actually someone was asking about it today. That lady who came on the Instagram stream we did yesterday, Monday lunchtime, she was talking about licensing. And licensing is a really, really important but tough one. So I'm kind of easy. I like to have the most permissive, I think that's the right word, license. Therefore, everybody can just kind of use it and contribute, etc. Yes, Jelani, yes, that was you. Thank you very much for joining our stream this evening, and thank you very much for the question on licensing. I think it's just so important, and still after so many, I don't know, over 10 years of doing open source, the licensing is still like confusing. Let me do that again with my kind of bigger. I don't know if that's gone through, but yeah, so licensing is really hard. GitHub really have a really good site, which is, I forget the name, open source license or something.
I'll camera you for a bit when you talk about licensing.
I really need to get a lawyer to talk about this, but there is, I can't think what it's called now. Oh, choosealicense.com. So choosealicense.com. This site is done by GitHub, and I don't know if Andy, you want to bring it up for your stream as well. They help you choose a license. So if I need to work in a community, you can look at those licenses. Or I want something simple and permissive, like MIT. I use MIT a lot. Or I care about sharing improvements. I kind of jump between MIT and GPL. So yeah, those are important. I just want everyone to be able to contribute with confidence, and then everyone to share any improvements they make. And then that way the project keeps improving and people can take it away and use it themselves, but they can't, I don't know, keep it closed. They can't take it away and make it closed. So I'm really keen about the open source community, keeping it always open and always improving. So that's really important.
I think most projects go for MIT these days. I mean, some over time, like I think Mongo did it. They were MIT. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember which one they've gone to. I think it's with the GPL license they went towards, because they found that places like Amazon were trying to copy their CLI. And in fact, Amazon did launch a comparative product to Mongo. You can use the Mongo client, but because they changed their licensing, I think just after 3.6, Amazon can no longer effectively try to duplicate the Mongo client to work within their ecosystem, which isn't ideal, because it would be quite nice to have options out there where you're still using that connector.
It's because theirs wasn't open source. If they made theirs open source, it would have been fine. But it's because they were taking in something that was open source and improving it, but making it closed source, which I kind of do agree with. So if I switch back, just to give some examples, what you're saying about Mongo, I think it's a really good example. The simple and permissive one, the MIT one, Babel, .NET, and Rails use that. Is the example, as you can see on the site. And for the one about I care about sharing improvements, the GNU GPL, I think it's on version 3 now, Ansible, Bash, and GIMP. So it's tough. I think as long as you choose one of those two, you'll be okay. You'll be fine. And there are so many open source projects that don't have an open source license as well, which is really confusing, right? People don't know what they can do.
And a lot of people think by not putting a license, it means that no one can use it either.
And some people think the opposite. Some people also think because they haven't put a license, you can do whatever you want.
It's like, well, which one is it?
It makes it really confusing. So I do advise putting a license. When you create an open source repo, it does say create with a README. I always say hit yes, and then create with a license and just pick one there. You can always change it later, just like Andrew was saying with Mongo.
You've got another question over there.
I do. Brilliant. So again, just to say thank you, Jelani. Thank you very much for the question on Instagram. I told you lots of other people would be keen in knowing like what our thoughts are on that, because licensing is a really hard one. All the conferences that I go to, people always ask questions and there aren't a lot of answers around that.
I think if you're going to go open source, you might as well go
open.
Full hog. There's no point going I'm open, but actually there's things that I'm concerned about.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. So let's answer some of the other questions. We've got Spectra says, since I'm a super nub, I'm guessing noob, open source equals open Git, so others can contribute. Yes. So again, another great question. It's brilliant that you're asking these questions publicly, because I'm sure there are other people who have the same question, or maybe too nervous to answer. So thank you very much. Yeah. So open source means on GitHub or anywhere else, but GitHub's the main platform. Your project is completely open. So if you go to this one, for example, Dashboard Hub Pipeline Dashboard, one of my projects is a project for my startup, is 100% open source. We even have a repo where we have like a documentation repo, where we even put our notes from our retrospectives, our planning meetings, from events and stuff like that, all completely open. So yeah, everything's open. Any one of you watching could create an issue, could make some changes to code, make an improvement back, or ask a question. So I'm really keen on having that transparency. We've got Connor. Connor, thanks for joining. Good to see you again. I want to give a good shout out to Connor for coming back again. You know,
yeah, he's been following a couple of these streams. I think you were with us on Monday when we had Anton in the room as well, right?
Oh yes, it's true. You had Anton in the room, and I didn't bring the big camera, so we were using the phone and trying to use this big screen, and it was a disaster as well. But it was good fun. It was good fun. So thanks for bearing with us in technical issues. Today I did bring the big camera, but I left the cable at home. So yeah, I'm still on my phone again today. But at least we're doing it through the laptop, so I can share screens and make it a bit easier. Jelani, no problem at all. Any more questions, do just shout in the chat, and we'll gladly try and answer it. If we can't, we usually know somebody who can. We've got Circle Pixel. What can be done with AWS? So what do you mean what can be done? So if I jump back to us again, just on the big screen. So when you say what can be done on AWS, so generally I don't want to kind of say something that's obvious, but just for anyone else who doesn't know, AWS is a hosting platform, one of the biggest ones, a bit like Google Cloud or DigitalOcean.
Yeah, they're mostly PaaS, platform as a service. They do have some IaaS opportunities like EC2, but they're mostly a platform as a service, so you're paying for a pre-set up environment that has everything you need. So take the Elastic Beanstalk side of it, where you just say, here's my project, deploy it out, and very similar to, if anyone's familiar with Heroku, it will just know everything. You don't need to go on there and say, right, I need to install Node, I need to install various intrusion detection software. It comes with pretty much everything you need. And it does all the auto scaling as well, so you don't have to go setting up load balancers and say, right, I've got this environment, I want a load balancer. It does all of your kind of online production environment capabilities, and you can then run SSL certificates on there. They have SSL certificate management, so everything you need is out of the box, and that's what AWS is all about. It's hosting, but there's more to it. They've got machine learning, artificial intelligence,
they're
storage,
huge. They got everything. And Microsoft with their Azure are challenging it. Same with Google's. So it's really great that there's a bit of competition around that. They're like serverless platforms across all three are really cost effective. You don't have to pay, I want this server with 4 gigs of RAM, paying £100 a month. You can go serverless. It just runs your function, and you get the first million free, which is actually quite a lot. And then after that, the next million is like 20 cents. So serverless is really the way to go. So yeah, it's really, really interesting. So hopefully that answers your question.
When it comes to Lambda, I mean, I'd say AWS are ahead on Lambda, for example, on the functions. When it comes to just hosting a static website, I actually quite like Firebase's model for that. Firebase hosting is really good. When it comes to storage of files, again, probably AWS is ahead with that, but Firebase isn't too bad. I suppose Azure is the one that for me is always lagging behind a bit. I've used it a couple of times. Their documentation needs improvements. Not that I'm here to slate Azure. There's a lot of big companies that go using Azure, mostly because it's got Microsoft backing. They're very big on their security, don't get me wrong. I think the security of Azure is very good, but trying to figure your way around it's just not very clear.
But AWS has a user experience issue as well.
It does. The user experience isn't great.
It's Firebase is actually pretty good. This is why I'm moving my open source startup to Firebase, because it's a bit like Heroku. It just works. It's actually really nice. I'm actually really enjoying it. So yeah. Reed, thank you very much for joining, and thank you very much for, I think, another really great question. I'm loving these questions tonight. This is actually great. We have question is, can you talk more about the Red Hat model of open source, paid features, support? I'm currently in a boot camp, and I went in with a personal itch, business idea, awesome, and as a new developer of public and private data. So basically, by starting to follow me, Eddie, I've thrown a wrench into the plans. Oh no, but good. If it's an open source wrench, it's good. Trust me, you'll thank me later. And even Andrew, who had his startup, Vendra, as an e-commerce platform, was closed source, and you recently started open sourcing more and more and more. So
yeah, well, for me, I had slightly different reasons. The main reason for me to not go straight into open source was it wasn't a full-time job for me. My concerns were I might start getting lots of questions, traction might pick up too fast, but I suppose I've come to realise that they could be good problems to have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose my reasons weren't necessarily the most founded reasons, and at the end of the day, I will probably have almost everything opened up. There will be a couple of things like how I do my deployments that I might keep to myself. But again, a lot of that will be set up and available through the open source project. So yeah, if you're interested in e-commerce and you're looking for a platform to use, I feel like I'm giving an A-team speech right now. But yeah, have a look at Ventura over the next couple of months, and we'll be open sourcing the majority of the e-commerce platform.
Push him to open source more and more and more. I want it all open source. So now to address the question that Reed asked, we haven't forgotten. So just to repeat, the open source model of Red Hat. So Red Hat and Ubuntu, which is part of Canonical, do very similar. And same with actually, what's that other open source e-commerce platform?
Magento?
No, the other one.
Open source one?
Yeah. The guy I interviewed at the web engineering event. Oh, I can't think what it's called now.
Oh.
Can people name some open source platforms on the chat? We talked about it today.
Yeah, it was Shop something, wasn't it?
Shopware.
Shopware.
Yes, well done. So in Shopware again, it's a lot of these open source companies are mostly open source. I mean, if you look at places like Facebook, Twitter, Travis, they are maybe 50%, 60% open source, and they have their crown jewels as still private. But places like Red Hat and Canonical open source everything, and even Elasticsearch actually is 100% open source with their main platform, and they make money through support or hosting, because WordPress is 100% open source. But if you don't want to host your own WordPress and update it every month as a new release for security updates, you just pay them whatever it is, £5 a month, and like WordPress will host it for you.
But in other places also, they have two editions. They have like a community edition, and they have sort of, I'll say the word enterprise edition as well. But that's how a lot of these places gear themselves up. Right? They say the community edition, we're not offering much support here. Ask the community, go to forums for this stuff. And that's when you look at Red Hat. That's effectively what CentOS is, right? For Red Hat, it's their community version of Red Hat.
Yeah.
Whereas Red Hat itself, the enterprise one, they're expecting you to come up to them and say, right, I want a support agreement in place. And although the code might be open source, again, I don't think Red Hat is not 100% open source. CentOS, on the other side, is. And it uses most of the Red Hat code base. But Red Hat expects you to approach them with a support model in mind and say, right, we're going to need X amount of time from you to help us. We want turnaround SLAs of 2 hours if there's a problem, etc., etc. Plus, the enterprise version, or Red Hat itself, comes with additional features or additional bits of software already installed onto there. So there are some differences when it comes to the community editions and the enterprise editions that these big companies do still keep back, even though Red Hat is big on their open source. They don't give you everything.
Yeah, so everyone does it differently. So it's still possible to make money being open source. So for example, going back to Dashboard Hub, so my startup, so my startup, what I do is I make everything open source, like I said, even the meetings and so forth, and I'll have that people can host it themselves if they want, but they have to do the updates, keep an eye on when a new version comes out. If they just want the pain-free version, they just pay me or my company to host it for them, and we host it on a, what do you call it, on a shared platform? Like we just host, we have the Dashboard Hub platform as a service, effectively, is what it is.
Yeah, it's multi-tenant, right?
Multi-tenant, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you very much. We actually have a GitHub project from, I can't pronounce that, IRNZ. Thank you very much. And
do you want to finish a little bit more with Angular material before we jump on to something else? We've only looked at a couple of things.
Oh yes, that's true. Yes, that's
we
a
were
good
talking
point.
about some of the good sides of it.
I got carried away.
We do want to look at some other projects.
Yes.
we jump straight
Awesome.
into
Okay, give us a few minutes. We'll review that project after we finished with Angular material.
Just to highlight a couple of things. We don't have to go deep dive into some of that.
Sure. No problem, Reed. I hope that helps. Any more questions, just keep asking tonight, or we're trying to do a stream once or twice a week. So just come with your questions and bring your friends and bring your open source projects, and we'll definitely take a look. So let's go back to this.
So earlier we were looking at these, and we were saying that some of these sort of capitalized files are quite important, right? So there's things like the Readme file. I mean, a lot of projects you go to are missing Readme files, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's just the simplest thing, right?
It's the first thing you look at when you go to a project. You go, so how do I use this? What do I get from it? So
because it appears at the bottom as well.
Tells you a bit how to get started, where do you go to learn more, what is it they've got available. In this case, it's quite a large list of features. What's coming soon, perhaps, as far as we're working on this stuff. Yeah, it just gives you a nice intro. One of the things they're perhaps missing might be a couple of screenshots. I think a lot of projects benefit from having a bit of a screenshot just to show you what you're going to get. I know Angular Material does have an extensive website, and again, going back to things that are good, if you drop to the top of the page, they give you a link through to their project. Again,
people miss
simple
that.
little things, but everyone misses adding a link to where you can find the docs and see more.
For your open source projects, you really want to lower or do two things. One, lower the barrier to entry. So therefore, someone who's maybe new or not so confident in open source can get involved in your project because you want to build up the community, you want more eyes on your project, etc. And don't forget social coding. And two, you want to be inclusive. So if someone's not necessarily a coder, might be a designer, but they want to use your project and get involved, you want to be inclusive for all different technologies and different backgrounds and skills. So yes, great tips by Andrew. I think that's really important.
The GitHub folder itself, we did mention that. I don't know if you want to take us through a couple of the files that they've got in their GitHub folder, just very quickly.
Yeah, so I don't recognise. I know issue template.
Code owners, maybe. Yeah.
What's code owners? I haven't have a look.
You must know code owners. So code owners, basically, you're allowed to specify a folder structure. So you can say this folder structure from the project is owned by certain individuals. So you say this folder, this person, you put the @ symbol there as if you're referencing them. You can put multiple people there. And then when you go and raise a pull request, if you've got it set to requires an approver on there, you can then say it also requires a code owner to be one of the approvers.
Right.
So anything within that folder structure has to have that particular individual come along and say, yes, I'm happy with this.
So rather than protecting a branch but with one person, you can
protect effectively a folder to say this is the expert on that part of the code base. Which is great for a large project where you've got lots of people contributing. You're bound to have certain people that know it really well, other people that are less confident. So the code owners is quite a nice file for a larger project to have.
Yeah, that is very, very cool.
Eddie's learned something new today.
It is. That's why I love these things, right? You know, always about learning lots of new things and so on. So it's good. It's cool.
Issue template file then. Yeah.
Yes. So this I can do. So issue template is when you create an issue. So if we it will populate it with this file. So if I go to raw, you can kind of see what the markdown will look like and what it will look like. I can't even talk. It's been a long day. It's like 4 AM this morning. So if I create a new issue, you'll see some magic. I won't actually create it, but I'll start creating it. Oh, interesting.
I was going to say, I've noticed they've got the new issue template folder as well. So
man, I feel out of date.
So that one you were showing actually is the old one. There is now this new feature in GitHub. Again, Eddie's a little bit behind on the wheel here.
Shit.
If you have an issue template folder within your GitHub, then actually you can have different features. So in this case, they have a bug and a feature template file inside.
But does that mean the other one, the issue template, is redundant now? We should delete that.
They probably should have removed that.
So should we create a pull request and do it? They might flame me.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, at the end of the day, it is redundant now.
It is redundant, right? Because if I click new, it gives me these two options. Is it a bug or is it a feature? Which is so good. I want to do it to my open source project.
If I just do that on my side here, I can go to new issue and you will see what are you doing? Are you reporting a bug or are you reporting it? There is an actual regular issue one. So before we say that,
okay, good point.
Regular issue.
Let's have a look.
Okay, now that is falling back to their issue template.
Right, okay, so let's not do that.
That's where that does come into play still.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to nick their templates and use it on mine. That's what open source is about, right? Nicking stuff. I mean, borrowing.
Yeah, not nicking. It's looking towards the best practices and
that's what I said.
Adapting yourself towards the best practices. And best practice can be anything. It's all moving forward, right? But it's what's an improvement. And this is where things like retrospectives in the agile world come in quite handy.
Okay, I'll do that later on. Because we know we want to review other people's projects, so I'll do it later on. But that's pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to add that to mine. That's actually really, really cool. I'm going to raise an issue. Does someone want to get a GitHub contribution for today? Can they raise an issue for me on my project? Any volunteers? Just write in the chat saying me, and I'll let you know what we should raise. You can raise it. You can get some, open sourceness contribution for today. I'm happy to share the love. So let me know. I'll give that a second because I think there's a bit of a delay between us talking and you receiving it, and then the chat coming through. So let us know. If no one wants to do it, that's fine. But type a few words, create an issue on my open source project. So it's not on materials; it's on mine. So
I won't talk too much about the other files because obviously there's things like Circle they're using for their CI and so forth and so forth. Let's have a quick look along some of the other tabs. They have issues that are opened up. Obviously, the main thing with issues is probably the labels that go on. They have a lot of labels on the material project.
do they?
Wouldn't necessarily suggest to look too much at theirs because they have a lot. But if you look, I don't know what Dashboard Hub's using for labels, but
I have 2 pages. This material.
Yeah, it's a bit too many. I know they're trying to classify things, but labels are very useful to help organise your project
and filter and stuff. Yeah.
They do have milestones, so you can see what they got in their upcoming releases on GitHub. Pull requests, so this is where things get a bit more interesting. You can see that they're quite busy on their pull requests. Various comments, a lot of stuff in the backlog.
287 open pull requests.
Yeah, they should really be getting rid of some because 287 seems like a lot. For
12
everyone.
pages, that's crazy. If they don't want to accept it, well, actually some of them have the orange dot, right? Some of them 6 days ago, only 9 out of 12 checks.
CI was going through and something
just died. Needs to be rebuilt or something.
You can click into that issue. We can have a look and see what was it that having come back. So there's a merge status pending.
If there's no takers for raising this issue, by the way, I'm going to raise it on mine real quick so I don't forget. I'm going to get the open source contribution for today. Let me do that on the big screen.
So the last thing that I will also
I'm going to get the open source contribution for today. There's an echo in the room.
If you're not quick, I'll be on there in a second. But the other thing I suppose is Angular Material. You also have this projects tab on GitHub. And Angular Material take quite an interesting take on this. They look at that as being the different feature sets. So they look at things like tooltips, tables, sorting. And you can see a lot of these bars are green all the way across, but if I pick one that's not, so this virtual scrolling one here, for example, you'll see what they've done is they've said, these are things we want to add to it, the things we want to do, what's currently being worked on, then you can also see what's been done. So anything that's been done marks it as green, anything that's in progress gets this little purple bit in the middle, and anything to do is the grey bit on the end. So you can see progress as you're trying to track stuff, and this is where it gets interesting in some of our day jobs where we have people say, oh, okay, how complete is this feature? Well, obviously it's as complete as what you have at that, you know about it at that point in time, and it will always be a moving field. But one thing we're quite keen on is issue fidelity. There's a good way of saying, well, actually, the low fidelity stuff is these things, medium fidelity is this stuff, and the high fidelity are these things. So it's a nice way of just planning everything out. So you might only be worried for an MVP perspective to get the low fidelity stuff done. So running your projects like that is quite a nice way of thinking, okay, these are the features, the components we're building for our project. I will bundle those up into their own projects. Some people just use the projects on here as a simple Kanban board to say, right, what we're working on this sprint, and they use it as a bit of a sprint board. But from an agile perspective, there's a few interesting takes on that, and I quite like how Angular Material are driving it down the component view of how complete is a particular feature.
Let me catch up, wait a second. So, going to project boards, yes, you get to see the progress of the project, and if I go into it, as Andrew was saying, you get not started, in progress, awaiting merge, and done. It's a bit like a kind of a Trello board. Awesome.
Cool, so whilst we could talk more and more about that project, let's go and jump to this project.
Let's have a look at Lorenzo. Lorenzo shared. Are you still there, Lorenzo? Let's have a look at the project that you shared. The project name is. Do you want me to send you a link?
What's the top bit?
Okay.
Li, is it?
Li2NZ. And then it's the React D3G plot. Is it LL?
Yeah. Is it LL? I don't know. Something like. It could be a 1.
Cool. Lorenzo's still there. Awesome. Bear with us while we're trying to use 2 computers and failing miserably.
I'll go with you. I thought it React.
He's LL is what.
Okay,
yeah.
D3 is LL.
Lowercase l. See, that's not very user friendly. I think you should rename your username.
Well, it could just be the font. You know? Maybe
It is
GitHub could
the
have
font.
chosen a better font to show that.
Yeah.
Cool, I've got it up on my screen now.
Okay,
so,
awesome. Let me switch to the screen. And we're having a look. You got 3 stars. It's a good start. Awesome.
We've had a start.
We could add some stars. There you go. Yeah, that's some stars. You should now have 5 stars. Oh, you can't see the pictures in the way. Wait a second. How can I bring this? My camera's in the way.
Top corner, yeah, you've come too high.
Oh, I can make this maybe smaller. Here we go. Look. I'll bring this down here. You get a bit of inception in the background. But you should see that it's 5. So you've got 5. Anyone else watching? Click that link and start the project. So now remove the inception, gone back. So first impressions. So you got some tags in there. I think that's really good. Got a description. Again, really good. You don't have a link to a demo site, but you might have something in the README, as in maybe a link or some animated GIFs or something. So we'll get to that. And
there's a code of conduct. So obviously, go straight in there with telling people what you're interested in, how they behave. However, when I open that, it's empty.
Which one? Code of
Code
conduct.
of conduct. So great that there's one there. There's no content to it though.
There is actually a really, really good site, which is a code of conduct generator, which is like a standard. It's called, not covalence, that's another thing. Code something. Codes, let me search for it. Code of conduct. It's like a template. It's really good. I'll know it when I see it. And I just need to search for something more. Open source. It's open source code of conduct, and there is a name for it. I will find it now. Ben, thanks for your message and link. I'll have a read in a couple of minutes. Yes, it's the Covenant. So contributor Covenant, and there's a node like library for it, and you run the CLI, and it asks for your email address, and it puts it into the text. And it creates you a file. So that's really good. I'm going to raise an issue for you with a link to that. To say that it's empty. Let me do that now. So if I go to issues and raise you an issue, contributors file is empty. Suggest using, I forgot what it's called already, but
Contributor Covenant.
Contributor Covenant. Okay, I'll put a link in the issue as well for you. I've got like 3 open source contributions this evening just while being on the stream. This is brilliant. I think you do.
So yeah, README. Just looking at that, that's probably the next thing I normally look towards is what's in the README.
README.
I mean the title is the name of the project. Do you need to have enough? Probably change the format, but not a big deal. Using Yarn and then
send to PR. Change the format.
Depends. Some people like to just keep it that way, so it's a bit of a personal preference.
Yeah, but you might close it, but you still get the contribution, right?
True.
Because contribution is about raising an issue or raising a pull request. If it gets closed, it's fine. Yeah, raise it.
So before we do that, the demos, got some screenshots there. So nice to see how it works. Is it all grayscale?
I was just going to say, one's in colour further down.
Lower down.
Yeah.
But it's all coming from D3, right? So this is just using D3 to introduce it.
It's a good README actually.
There's quite a lot of
screenshots.
Which is nice.
You got
I'm only
introduction.
halfway down already.
Yeah, this is really good.
So introduction, format your data into an array of objects. Good, yeah.
This is really good, and then you got the code highlighting as well, which I think is great.
That's part of Markdown built into.
Yeah, but some
GitHub,
people don't.
A lot of people forget to put the little thing.
Yeah, to put the tag in, which is really good.
Etc.
Nice. Oh, you got live code example. Well, let's click on that. Let's have a look. This is good. And Ben, I just saw your message. I did forget about your link in the GitHub comment. Sorry, in the YouTube comment. I really apologise. We'll look at your repo next.
Yeah, so that's all working. I mean, you can see the code up there. We can see the chart appearing on the side. You're still loading.
Well, what, yours is loaded already?
I clicked on it after you as well.
Fancy computer. The new one. Is yours the MacBook Pro is it fully loaded apart from the hard disk?
Yeah, it's just the hard disk. I only went for the 1 terabyte because the 4 terabyte, that was just too much. Yeah,
it's crazy. I might have to get one of those. Cool. I like the demo. That's awesome. That's great. And this is really, really good.
Some experimental stuff. Okay. Doesn't say what's experimental about it.
Well, Nest cooler helper from cool helper from D3.
I think it's supposed to be US as a capital US cars down the bottom there.
Where are you reading that?
This plot, oh no, it shows us cars.
It's been a long day.
Needs a comma perhaps. That's on the way
Um,
yeah, so this plot shows us cars, main characters, displacement and displacement.
My only question is,
Okay.
should stuff like state, like AES, the quotes, should they be single or double? I know in Angular we use single. Maybe it's a React thing to use double? I don't know.
Well, to a degree, it's a personal preference thing, right? I mean, the main reason for using single in the past was because when you're writing a string of text, you often put double quotes in the text, and it avoids that issue of having to escape the double quotes. A lot of the time now, obviously, if you're going to do things like that, you just use the backtick instead, because assuming you're transpiling it all, then the backticks will do the job for you. So a bit of a personal preference. Yeah, we prefer single quotes. So on the imports as well, for example, they're all double quoted. Single quotes, I'd say, is nicer in JavaScript.
So a couple of things I want to add. So the README is really good. I'm really impressed with that. It's really nice. You've got a demos folder as well. We'll come to that in a minute. But just a few suggestions that I noticed from the project page is, well, you don't have a profile picture. So your commit, your latest commit, doesn't have.
Don't know who you are.
Don't know who you are. Even if you don't want it to be you. You take a picture of like your back or your pet or something, but something that just looks a bit more excuse me, a bit more real rather than it's just a default placeholder. So I would definitely highly recommend doing that. It look more credible. Yeah, let me have a drink before I die.
As you're saying that, I've just looked to your profile page itself and had a quick look, and I can see obviously you've been doing a lot of contributions since August-ish, the start of August last year. A bit quiet perhaps before that, so you quite. Actually, I looked at the previous year, so there seems to be a common theme here that between sort of August and December you get lots of commits going in.
Over 3,000 contributions.
Yeah, so yeah, heavy committing since August. So
you're beating me.
Great, so.
I step up my game.
However, they are all commits. I mean, great that you're doing lots of code, but there are other things that I'm sure you could be doing, code reviews,
100%
raising
commits.
issues for things, pull requests. I mean, being 100% commit focused, whilst great to see lots of code going on, there's more to being a developer.
It's social coding, right? And yes, as Andrew says, it's more to being a developer. It's not just about head down and coding. So it's good to show those other skills as well.
But it's great. I mean, the first thing we look at when we're hiring for people as well is looking at their GitHub projects and seeing what story that tells us about someone. So when if I was to look at this and go straight in here and go, great, so 13 repositories, obviously I can have a bit more of a look at those. Good to see you've got a couple of links on the side. There's obviously a website here. I'm not going to click into it now. Plenty of commits going on. As I said, looks like mostly started from August last year, which is great. I mean, there's always a time to start. Are you a new developer? Have you recently got into coding? When did you start? I can see a few
statistics graduate who loves programming.
Yeah, okay, so you're a graduate. Yeah, so that's great. So obviously you're trying to build up that profile and probably looking to get jobs and so forth. But yeah, I'd certainly say things like issues, pull requests, you can do that on your own project. Raise an issue, work on it. Even if it's just you that's doing it, it helps show people that you understand that process flow. So there are things like that I'd certainly suggest looking into. They're just little things, they don't take much time to do, but it just adds to that overall effect. And again, if I go back to your project, obviously the only issue there is the one Eddie's just raised a moment ago.
Yeah.
No pull requests.
Do try and, if you're still working on it, do try and raise milestones, like a sprint, and then raise issues, and then just when you do your work, when you do the commit message, put the issue number in it, and then close the issue. Just ties it all together. It looks more professional. The other thing I was going to say, you're following one person, and
it's
me.
Not Eddie. Yeah.
It's not me. You got to follow me. Come on, I'll pull up my numbers. So yes.
Obviously, follow me as well whilst you're at it.
Yes, follow Andrew too. I've raised an issue, so Lorenzo knows who I am. Yeah. You need to raise an issue too. Raise an issue with one of your suggestions. I want to raise one for something else.
Well, I could raise a really big issue.
Don't raise big ones.
An issue for me, anyway, is that there's no tests. Where are your tests?
Yeah, I knew you were going to
bring that up. For me, I tend to not use any library out there that has no evidence of quality to it. And at the moment, I can't see the quality side of what's here. There's evidently quite a bit of code going on. I'm not going into all the different folders in the source folder, but there's obviously quite a bit going on in there because there's quite a few files in there. What's backing it up to say that this is actually a quality solution and is going to do the job? I know you're extending and using D3 behind the scenes, and D3 is a good library. It's got quite a lot of testing, quite heavy usage out there. But with a project that's only got a few stars, no evidence of tests, I would be very wary using it myself. So I could raise a big issue on that and say, even if it's not very many tests, just start putting a few tests in there, even if it's just one test for each activity that can go on. It might not test all the edge cases, but for me that would be the one. So I'll put something in there just saying introduce a testing framework.
Andrew's just raising an issue on his computer right now.
So introduce a testing framework. For example, Jest is heavily used in the React world. My personal favourite would be something like Cucumber, though. I'm a big fan of Cucumber. Jest will work with Cucumber as well. Yeah, and just cover the happy parts. Even a single test per component, or in this case, I suppose you could say per graph, will do. Just something like that. That will help give confidence when you're coming along. So that's a big thing for me. Any project should come with some tests.
Awesome. So the next thing I was going to talk about was we should soon go on to the next repo, and we've got a couple more questions as well. But I was going to say that you have no releases. So if at the moment your code is functional, you should then, I don't think I can do it for you.
Yeah,
but
just looking at the package, Jason, it doesn't look like I can see any automation for deploying it. Is it going up to NPM? How do people get, I mean, I saw on the install, right, there's an NPM install for React. So if I go and look this up on NPM, I might do the same.
It must be, what do you call it? Pushed up manually. It'd be really good if you can get CI to push that up for you.
So there is a release.
And create a release as well.
In fact, there's been 32 releases living on here. 32 versions have been released. So plenty of releases going on, which is great. It's all being pushed up to NPM.
But only NPM knows about it.
So yeah, no one else necessarily knows where to go find that on NPM.
And again, you can see your collaborators. You've got this kind of fixed image. Sorry, default image. So yeah, I would say create some releases. That would be really good. Really, really good. Otherwise, yeah, I think you've done the hard work. It's just maybe some of the easier ones and the hard work of the Readme.
There's a few admin tasks going on around the
yeah.
site. I mean, you could call test admin. I hate to say that, but
that's part of the code.
A lot of people put it behind there. The documentation as well. I mean, you've got obviously that nice Readme that gives you a good oversight of everything. But there's a lot more in your code. Just glancing there, there's a lot more. You've got obviously line graphs, point graph, rectangle, that kind of y-axis stuff. Does your Readme fully reflect everything that's possible? These things take time sometimes. I mean, I know earlier on when I was, sort of graduates, I probably wasn't thinking documentation at all back in those days.
But things have changed. I think back then it wasn't so the norm to have it, whereas now it's more the norm to have it.
Yeah, so another folder in there. I know you've got, when I looked at demos, there are some demos, but they're all just PNG files. So then there might be kind of, this is what you get at the end of it, but it doesn't tell you how did you generate that. So maybe for each of those demos, just put a short, this is the code that ran that demo.
Or you can have a folder for each one with a Readme inside each one. When you go into that folder, the Readme appears under the image and stuff like that. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, I'm conscious of time.
All these things help people use your project.
Let's move on to the next one. So Lorenzo, I hope that helps. You've got 5 stars now and 2 new issues. So I look forward to reviewing that again in the future and seeing those improvements.
Where are we going to next?
So next we're going to go, let's go to Ben's, because he was next in the chat. Open new link, you want me to shout it out to you? Exiton, yeah. This is your old friend, Java. You used to be a Java dev for many years.
Yeah, but we're going back a little while now.
Well, you are old.
I am old. So long as we're not using Spring, we might have a chance.
Oh, Spring's awesome. Spring.
Well, not only because I haven't used Spring since like version 3, and it's changed quite a lot.
So this is another project. So, Lorenzo, you're welcome. Thank you for sharing your project. Really appreciate it. So we got to do the same again, right? We got to do the stars. So
we have to start the project.
Let's start the project. So 0
First couple
stars.
of stars. I think I got in there first.
Oh, you did. It jumped up to 2 when I clicked it. So you got 2 more stars there. Ben, thanks for sharing. So again, first glances, you actually have got 3 releases. It just jumps out at me. So really, having releases are good. So initial release, pre-release, alpha release, doesn't matter what you call them. Loving that. That's really, really good. Straight away, that looks, I don't know, looks quite professional. Profile picture, again, it's not you, but you have something, so that's not the default. So that's really good. The other thing that jumps out at me that is not such a good thing is the .idea folder that shows a bit of carelessness, because that shouldn't be committed. And
so npm ignore is probably missing from there. Well, I can see there's no npm ignore.
npm git.
Oh, git ignore.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, it's 8:30, right?
Yeah, well, we should finish at 8:30, so we've got 15 minutes. We're finishing at 8:30.
Yeah, it has been a long day. But yeah, the .idea folder, I mean, that's a private folder. Obviously, you often have some config in this. There may be 1 or 2 files you do want to keep there, just in case someone else is working on your project in IDEA.
Really? No.
But only because things like style guides and the IDEA, you put some of your styling, like if I want to set spaces and stuff.
That's done in editor config though, right?
Editor config will take care of quite a large chunk of it, but not everything. So sometimes I might argue that there's 1 or 2 files that I would say, okay, fair enough, but you have put the entire lot in there.
I would say ignore it completely. I ignore the IDEA folder, the WebStorm folder, all the other VS Code, like .vs Code folders. Ignore all of them. I think that's fine. I don't think that's an issue. So we've got a README, which is good. We've got an intro, how it works. The image does look a bit squished maybe, or maybe it's just my eyes because it's been a long day. I was coding at 4 o'clock this morning. Not open source for a client. Then did an open source for an hour with my developers team. With the way the images, okay. So developer, I can't even talk. Developer information and commands. So the commands, I think you could put in like code quotes if that's the command. I'm gonna send you a PR right now. Let's just jump in and do it. README. What do you think about the pictures folder and with the capital P and stuff? What are your thoughts on that?
Again, I prefer lowercase for folder names. Not generally a reason to have uppercase names for files. Likewise, when I go into there, there's a how it works PNG. Again, I tend to lowercase and hyphenate between things when it comes to file names. I could argue it's a personal preference. A lot of people do it that way though, so I'd say you could almost argue there's a bit of a standard that's come when it comes to file names.
As long as you're consistent though, right? Because you've got lowercase and underscore. So just be consistent, definitely. I'm about to propose this file change to you. So I'm going to raise a PR.
And there are a couple more markdown files in here with a bit more documentation in, obviously. So nice big block there. Again, got the code highlighting going on that, so it's easier to read.
There's another contribution for me today. Yes, it was simple, but it's making an improvement. So I do suggest that everybody contributes to other people's projects. Go back to the code now. I've got 1 fork as well now. I just forked it. Where are we looking at? So I missed. Where did you go?
I was just looking at the other markdown files.
Right, okay.
There's 2 more markdown files in there with a bit more.
Oh, nice.
A bit more text in, a bit more content.
Color coded, yeah, like you mentioned, really good.
I have played. I think this was a Minecraft plugin from what I saw. I played Minecraft a number of years ago now.
I guess one of the things I noticed though in the markdown file is this code is indented where the other code is not.
Yes, yeah, there's some alignment.
Let me just send you another PR. Let's just do it. Let's not mess around.
You're getting all of these in, aren't you?
Right.
Diving on them all.
You're welcome to do them if you want. You snooze, you lose. Again, it's just being consistent. So.
Again, when I look at the issues, no particular issues. Pull request from Eddie.
Another one coming up now.
I assume the labels that are being used are the default labels, because yeah, there's no issues in this. That's all the default labels on GitHub gives you. Ben,
don't worry. When it's your own project, if you looked at my project, and I recommend you all do, Dashboard Hub, I've got quite a few projects. I'll bring it up on the screen now. The main 2 are Tribe Dashboard and Pipeline Dashboard. I'm sure you'll all notice many things about my projects. This is not about us trying to say,
critique
hey,
our own projects all the time as well. There's always improvements. There's no reason not to. It's just sometimes it's nice to get an outsider saying,
that's why open source is amazing.
This is what I think. These are suggestions I would make. You can reject them. Everyone has personal preferences.
Yeah.
So take it all with a pinch of salt, I would say. But
absolutely.
yeah, there are certainly things that I would say are some emerging standards or ways that a lot of the community might do things, but not everyone adheres to it. It's like almost like the 80-20 rule, right? Probably 80% are doing it mostly because other people are doing it, and 20% are perhaps just trying different things out, or they've just had a slightly different approach when they were learning this stuff.
So don't feel you have to accept my PRs.
I have noticed one of the things in that pictures folder very quickly as I was looking at some of the other files. There's an A dot mark down in the pictures folder.
A?
Yeah, it's empty.
Let's delete it.
So
you're going to do it, shall I? You do it. You do it.
Yeah,
then you get a second fork as well. So delete it. An empty file is not needed.
This is just an empty file. Should not be required. We could be doing these in changelog format as well, you know. There's no issue to go with it, so I haven't got an issue to reference. I will propose that as just a remove that file. It doesn't look like it's got any value it's adding.
Yeah, do it.
So again,
delete.
On my screen, it's created a fork, and I'm raising a pull request against my fork, that means your project, which you will then be able to accept if you're happy to remove the file. If you have a reason why it's there, obviously drop a reason, just say, actually this is needed for whatever reason, and close the pull request, but I couldn't see anything that would suggest it is required.
If you're watching as well, don't forget to give us a thumbs up on the video, really appreciate it, or a thumbs down. I did have like 10 people watching, and got up to 6. I must have said something bad. When I was mumbling before,
maybe it's just getting to that time of day now, because
dinner time.
People over in America, they're probably working now. People on the other side of the world are probably sleeping. People in the UK are eating.
Yeah,
it's kind of that time of day now where,
Awesome. Okay, but it has been increasing. You know, chat has been increasing. People watching has been increasing. So has been good.
I'm just taking a little bit of a look at some of the source code, some of the Java code very quickly, just see if there's anything there. I mean, I can see there's documentation in line going on. Great.
Like what they call doc blocks.
Yeah, the doc blocks are all in there. I'm not going to sort of do a review of what the code is doing. It'll take too long, but just at a glance, looks like the sort of the naming of things are good. There's quite a bit of Pascal case going on for some of the. Oh no, okay, they're the class names. Sorry, given that time of day, yeah, and then camel case on the variable name. So it's great. So the class names are all Pascal case, so capitalized on the first character, capitalized for any other word that's joined up.
Yeah.
It's Pascal case, and then camel case, where it's lowercase for the first character and uppercase for any further words. So you've got that going on. I can spot a small formatting issue when I'm looking at this armor equip event file.
Sorry, I haven't got it up on the screen.
It's not sharing, but everyone can see what I'm looking at.
What
here.
file are you in? Let me.
So I'm in the. If you go to the Java, yes, go into that's the one.
Okay.
Go into source. Open up. I think it was main. Java.
Oh, I'm not showing my screen. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, I think it was the top one.
Libs.
I think I mostly just clicked top.
And then top again.
So very small formatting thing here. If you look on line 16.
16? Right, so, oh yeah, I see missing a space
there. A little
there.
bit of a space would be nice, just before that open bracket.
Another pull request?
Tiny thing, if you like. I mean, this file was written in 2003. I mean, it's great to have these dot blocks. I do like the dot blocks to see. I mean, it's been there for a few years as such.
It's missing a few places there as well.
Is that yourself? I mean, that's a reference to a different GitHub project here. It could be that this has been brought across from somewhere else. Because it does look like a different GitHub account is being referenced on there. So maybe this is a problem that's coming from another project that's been, say, copy and pasted.
Which is a library that you're using? Ben's just written, it's actually a library I'm using. What, the file that I'm changing? Maybe I won't submit a pull request to you then. So
it does say libs, actually, to be fair, you're right, there is a libs there.
Oh, you commit the libs, right, okay, I'm used to it. Okay, make it cancel, forget it.
Normally dependencies are managed through, so for example in Java, something like Maven might be.
But they have got, there is, Ben has got a POM file, which should manage the dependencies.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've added it, so
So
I'd
you've
recommend
pre-committed,
not
so
adding it.
So that's the thing, you see. Someone like me coming along where I wasn't necessarily thinking too much about what you're doing with dependency management and so forth. I've just gone straight into let's have a look at some of the code. I just didn't even think about the file structure seeing in Lebs.
But yeah, it's under source, that's why.
Don't commit your libriries. At the end of the day, if people are using a project, they should be able to just install the dependencies, Maven install, or whichever dependency manager you're using. And then obviously they can then get those pulled down without having to use the version you've got. Because you might be, should be fixing your version numbers anyway.
Yeah.
You might have a different version that you've pushed in compared to the version that would come down if they were to install it locally. So, yeah, slight distraction there, but let's perhaps look.
And let me share Andrew's.
There's a test folder in here. You've got some tests.
Oh, okay, nice. I'm just going to share Andrew's YouTube channel. He says Angular best practices with Git and the whole workflow from beginning to end. So I want to share his channel, so if you want to subscribe to him, then you can watch some of those videos and encourage him to do more videos and do more open source because he has loads of time. He's got 4 little helpers at home and they take care of everything, so he can just spend lots of time doing videos and coding. Okay, I'm just going to bring it up now. Andrew, 23 subscribers. It's growing. It's growing. It's good. 24.
Everyone counts.
Nice. He needs to get to 1,000, so everyone subscribe. Let me share this now. Andrew's channel.
Well, 24 in a couple of weeks. I'll take that.
And party. Boom, boom, clank.
Let's get some more videos up at the weekend.
So that's Andrew's channel. And then we had a question from Circle Pixel. Circle Pixel, are you still around, or you're going to ask the question like not that long ago? Oh, it was actually quite long ago. Almost like 20 minutes ago. So hopefully you're still around and we can try and answer. The question is, what would you, where is it? I've lost it now. What would you say is the best way to making website responsive? Like, would relative units do the job, or CSS grid, or something like Bootstrap? Or would you say a combination of multiple methods?
So this is it.
We're going to disagree. Come on, punch up, let's do it.
Okay, so Bootstrap, as far as libraries, I loved Bootstrap for, oh gosh, probably about 4 years. I used it on loads of projects. But everywhere I was going, I was just seeing Bootstrap here, Bootstrap there. It became really obvious this is a Bootstrap using project. I then, I suppose, used Material in a similar fashion for probably a couple of years before I started seeing Material websites everywhere. So for me, I don't tend to use a lot of libraries now. I try to build all my CSS from scratch. When it comes to REM versus EM versus PX and so forth, I would say you end up with a bit of a mix. I tend to use a mix of REM and EM. So obviously you set your top level font. So I normally would set a top level font size of say 20 pixels. Because it's nice and easy to divide in my brain when I'm saying I want this at 0.8 REM or 0.8 EM. But it will all depend. So for things like a font size, I probably would use an REM for most of those. When it comes to borders, and so far I might do that slightly differently. I'm getting that right on time to get it late in the day. Font size probably uses EM. But yeah, look at, depends on how you want it to go. But yeah, responsive wise, grid for your looking sort of outwards, so the whole layout, and flex for kind of organising some of the kind of stuff inside of the grid. And so yeah, I'd use a mix of grid and flex to get things responsive.
I just Bootstrap on material design. Keep it really simple. I want to focus on functionality. Andrew loves to perfect things, and that's really good because he's really fast at those sorts of things. But
I also like to build my own component library. So one of the things that I'm doing with Vendra is I'm pulling out all of the components I've written in Angular as its own project, so people can see how I actually do that stuff.
True.
So that's going to be the first project that should be coming up. I'm still working through the commits. I'm just pulling everything across. I just want to get all of it in one place, put it all up there, and then let people critique when it's all there. Yeah, give me another 2 weeks probably to get that out.
But yeah, hopefully that answers that sort of question. I mean, I think for simplicity, just do Bootstrap
if you're getting started and you're just experimenting, don't get me wrong. If it's a trial thing, and I just say, as a prototype, I just want to get something done quick. Then building all your CSS up, creating your own components, it does take time. So I would agree. If you want to just get a prototype up and running, go Bootstrap, go Material, use something that's already out there. If you're looking to say, right, I'm taking this to the level up, I want to become a bit more unique, and from that point of view, and starting to build your own components probably makes a lot of sense as well.
So yeah, hopefully that answers a lot of your questions, and hopefully that was quite engaging. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and let us know what you thought. Put comments after the video is finished. Put comments. Let us know what you thought worked well. Starting late probably wasn't very good. Let us also know what you'd like to talk about in the future. Because we're still kind of experimenting is in terms of technology that we're using, the cameras, and we're also keen to get feedback from people, good or bad, to see when to do it, what time to do it, what kit we're using, what worked better. I had the 360 camera on last time, but it only lasts like 45 minutes. That's not so good, and I can't share my screen. We're thinking about getting people on board and joining us. We had Anton earlier this week with us. We thought of some hacking projects we thought we could hack together, if that's good.
We're thinking of doing like some funny little bots and stuff. We had a crazy idea. Maybe we should build something that follows people on places like Twitter and then gets our follow numbers up as people might follow you back. And
then you unsubscribe like a week later automatically. The bot would take care of it. So that was a bit cheeky. We also thought of putting up loads of cameras around the room and writing an Angular and Firebase project.
You control which camera is being used.
You can all vote. Every minute maybe the camera will change and everyone votes on the camera they want and then it will switch to that camera and then reset the votes or something.
Well, for example, as we've been doing these streams, there's probably, 4 or 5 different scenes in our project. If there's a particular scene that people say, actually, because you guys are talking, you've forgotten to change scene, you could have something that could change the scenes as well and things like that.
Yeah, so we've got some ideas of some little hack projects. We've got our main open source projects that we can contribute to and share. We thought it might be a bit slow going, so it might be fun just to build some fun projects. So yeah, we've got some questions. Moonsteroid, just saw your stream, but I can't stay. Looking forward for streams like this in the future. Moonsteroid, thanks for your support. Really appreciate it. Thanks for dropping by. It means a lot. And like I said, that gives us kind of the energy and enthusiasm to do more streams. Just let us know what sort of streams you would like. And we can try and include that if you want to speak to certain people. Next week we are going to have recruiters.
We're doing some recruiters in, yeah. We've got, I think, 2 recruiters who have said yes.
Versus 2 devs. So it's going to be...
We met it with a 3rd recruiter, or maybe even a 3rd dev. So
yes.
We're not going to be smashing heads together.
We're not?
Too much?
We might get our asses whooped.
We've got to be careful how much we say here, because we don't want to give too many of our plans away, just in case they're watching.
Of course, yes, it's true. We need to make sure we've got the element of surprise. So, yes, and Circle Pixel says, great, thanks for the reply. No problem. Thank you very much for the question. Really appreciate it. That's good. So, if there's no more questions, I think it's time to call it a day. Do also follow us on Instagram. We have started doing behind the scenes.
We're on Twitter or on YouTube now.
But there is a difference, right?
But the Instagram is, a bit more of a snippets during the day, okay?
Yeah, we'll do one now and walk into the train station maybe as I'm breaking my back of all my camera equipment that I didn't use. As a trip over and fall. So let me just share that Instagram as well. So my Instagram is this, and I will get Andrew's. So subscribe and you can watch behind the scenes on Instagram. We're doing like short videos on there. And let me get Andrew's if my computer just doesn't die. Andrew, is it _ Andrew Cunliffe?
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Oh, I just got a follow. Thank you very much. That didn't work. That just died. That's not really good. I'm just going to search for it. I think my computer's dying. It's probably easier for you to join the stream and paste it in yourself. I will search for you now. Andrew Cunliffe. There we go. Don't crash. Okay, so I want to share that now. So this is Andrew, Instagram. I'm just going to paste into the chat. Do follow him as well. We'll do behind the scenes, like I said. You can still ask us questions, and we're going to do it behind the scenes of us setting up, us at lunchtime, like a stand-up. We'll do one tomorrow, like a lunchtime stand-up, what we've been working on. So you can see what it's like as dev life in London, UK. Show us examples.
We can show where we're at right now, yeah? I mean, we're sat at the moment in our office. I'm going to grab my phone off here.
My phone's really far away. I can't grab that.
There we go. So for anyone that is on my channel, we are currently sat in the WeWork offices. You can see just outside. Just outside, you should be able to see. There's a pool table. There's a table tennis table. Over there, we've got a foosball table.
Well, that's
and in the foreground, you can see Eddie's camera sat up on there, and you can also see a tripod just behind the camera. That was going to be the main camera for the evening, but there was a slight technical issue again, which is why we started the stream late.
Let's spin this round.
Yeah, you can see we are sat down here,
and you can see Andrew as well.
And over on the screen we have a TV next to us. We're in the WeWork offices over in London.
Bit of fun. So yes, we will do some behind the scenes. Let us know what behind the scenes you'd like to see, and we will try and do it. So we'll try and share more have more transparency on what's going on in dev life, startup life, entrepreneur life. Well, I think that's time to call it a day. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you soon. Let us know what you think, and let us know what you'd like to see. Thanks. Have a good evening, everyone, or good day. Bye. I'll end the stream.
Cool. Right. See you, everyone.